trying to provide that as we head into tryouts in June, that everybody knows what we're doing for the next 12 months, if not 18 months, as you sign for the upcoming season with the Kings. It makes things easier for everybody involved.
I got a quick question.
Yes.
When you notify, should you be calling these parents within like 24 hours of the tryout? You essentially should know how good after you talk to your coaches or whatever. Do you notify them like after 2 days, 1 day, or next day kind of thing? And when you do call them, do you give them like a week to marinate what they want to do?
I think for your high-level teams, the answer is pretty straightforward. When they get a phone call, they want to be on the top team. Second team is okay. Third team's maybe need a couple of days. Fourth team maybe a few more days. But I mean, once we finish the tryout, our staff will meet that night with that age group's coaches and lead the complex, knowing who's on what team. Process from there, depending on how many elite teams we form at the elite tryout. Our first team coach will call his club players. If he gets a yes from everybody, he'll call the second team coach and they'll start their phone calls. Will it delay it by a day? Possibly if somebody is undecided. But the problem with that is, with the size of this club, we've got nearly 1,200 kids. If one player on the top team says, can I call you back in 2 days, there's another 65 kids waiting for a phone call, because it's a domino effect of promotion and relegation or mismatching some players in whatever roster. So that's why I really try and stress that they do give us an answer straight away. Does that answer?
Yes.
Good. Important when you meet with your parents, give them a brief bio on yourself, whether it's you've been a player, you're just passionate about the game and want to be involved depending on your level. It's very important for our paid coaches to do that and show why they're being paid for what they're doing. Parents appreciate it. Licensing, etc. Playing backgrounds, college, high school, old EP, all the things that the players can aspire to be is important for the parents and players to hear. Introduce your coaching staff, whether you've got 1 assistant, 2 assistants. Introduce other people within your environment, whether that's parents, administrators. Really set out those rules and regulations in regards to what a parent administrator is going to do, what a coach is going to do in regards to communication. A big piece that we'll get into shortly. Talk briefly about your philosophies of the game, what to expect from you on game day and training. It's important. Are you all about winning? Are you all about development? Hopefully a bit of both. I don't think anybody coaches not to win, but it can't be the be all and end all as our younger ages. We're here to develop players into becoming winners, and that comes from the training field and in-game environments that we can place them in. And they're going to be successful and fail at the same time, but without failure they're never going to get any better. So I understand it's a fine line. Parents are very demanding in regards to winning. It's a big part of the sport. It's a big part of most sports. We understand that and believe in winning, but it can't be the number one topic of the day as our 8s, 9s and 10s go into a soccer game for 60 minutes. They're looking to enjoy it, come back, get better and develop as players for future years for when it matters. Set expectations and guidelines for your parents. Are they unhappy with playing time? Who do they talk to? Who's the first line of communication? Don't be available straight after the game. Let them simmer, let yourself simmer. If something's gone wrong, give them a 24-hour policy, or set up a meeting where you can meet afterwards, after the game, the day of training, etc., etc. I don't think many things have been achieved as soon as that final whistle goes and Sally's not played 2 more minutes more than somebody else, as the parents come running across the field to start attacking you. We've all dealt with it, but if those expectations and rules and regulations are not there in place beforehand, then really we can't blame the parent for coming over because he's not got those guidelines beforehand. And be open. Obviously communication is important. So you can't just shut the door and say there's no communication. Just open some windows where they can approach you. Depending on the age, I'd recommend the players approach you first. If they're uncomfortable with that, then obviously they can come with the parents. And then as a last resort, you have a parent calling about the kid, especially in the teenage years. I think they need to mature, not only in the soccer field, but in the real world. And that'll help them in talking with adults as they head into college and higher education. The next video I'll show you, it's a funny clip actually, but it's very real to the soccer world that we live in these days. So I'll just let you watch that. and then we can discuss it if you'd like.
Listen to this muppet. Every week he does this, screaming and shouting at the ref. That's a yellow card, ref, Cardi! Yellow card, ref! Yellow card, mate! Hey, you want to learn the rules? How are these kids supposed to learn the game if you don't know the game? He's an animal. Give him a yellow card. You're an animal. He deserves a card. Look at him, the ref. He gives up his Saturday mornings to do this. Now, was it the right decision? It might have been, it might not have been. Who knows? We all make mistakes. You must. Would you take this away? Thank you. No, don't thank me. Thank you. Just clear the play there, please. You ain't got a clue. You see, Dad's trying to live out his own dreams for his son. Jamie! Come on, son. Plenty of more. Plenty of more. Give his son Rosie. What's in it? What's the matter with you? That's a suicidal... And how's he supposed to learn if he can't make his own mistakes? How many times have I tell you? Not a gallery. Not exactly setting a good example, is he? Referee, you're not watching the game, mate. You're watching me. You ain't gonna see nothing here. Watch the game. It's no wonder we're losing so many refs. When we're having a fight with people like Jet Nabisky here every week. Come on, Stevie. You're running about like a chicken with a ring over here. And it's no wonder thousands of kids give up the game either. If we carry on like this, we won't have a game left. Ref! Some of us need to take a long, hard look at ourselves.
If you come to the next presentation in a month's time, there'll be a lot of those from the English FA, from the guys that abuse the referees and abuse the kids on the field, coaches shouting at players. Again, it's funny, but I see it every week. I'm sure Robbie sees it every week with the amount of games we go to. Fortunately, not as much on the Kings side, but definitely on the opposition side. Who can blame the kids for stopping playing when they just don't enjoy it whatsoever? As we move on, again, talking about planning internally, as a club we're working on it for a 12 to 18 month period. It's important that you allow your parents to know how many times you train in a week, whether it's once, twice, 3 times, what league you'll be playing in, what tournaments you plan on playing in, what weekends they are, how many tournaments you're going to be playing in. Most of our teams are playing around a 20-25 league game schedule. With that, there's probably only 6 to 8 league games, so they are going to tournaments, whether it's locally or further away. Make sure they know why rest is important, and they can't be playing 24/7. You go to a tournament, play 5 games in a weekend. The biggest complaint I get from some parents is that why aren't we training on Monday afternoon? Basically because your kids can't walk anymore and it's a waste of time. So these things need to be communicated up front so it doesn't look like the coach is taking a day off. Planning and preparation is important. Personally, my team, they know what days they're having off due to tournaments. And it's not because we won it or we lost it and we're coming in because we lost. It's important that we do recover because we've got games the following weekend. And that's part of the package, I think, hopefully what we're selling with the Kings, that it's year round and there is rest that comes along with it. Obtain information from your players. I think this is probably something that's lacking in most teams. As a coach, and myself included at times, it's your way, this is how we do it, we move forward, and we don't really take into consideration what our kids are actually looking for out of us and the club and the soccer players themselves. Some may not want to be great star athletes, some may want to be the best in the world. I meet with my players every season and we go through things. I ask them via email to send me the 3 goals for the season, personal goals that they want to improve on. We discuss them. We don't necessarily work on them individually throughout the season, but as an example, if one of my centre forwards wants to shoot more and they're not shooting in the game, that'd be an opportunity for me to recall what their actual goals were, not my goals for them. As we go through the game, they get a smile from them and then shooting starts to improve, as an example. But you need that feedback from them in order to work on those weaknesses, because there are areas that they may think they're great in or weak in, etc., etc. But that communication is key for the trust going both ways, so they actually know that you're there for them. We also ask for team goals.